What are you doing with your scholarship money? Most PhD students receive some form of scholarship or stipend during their PhD program. For example, in Australia, PhD students receive around $28,000 per year tax-free. So as a grad student, this is a lot of money. And you're going to get that money over at least 3 years or maybe 4 years. If you deduct your living expenses from that, and as a student, you're not living a very luxurious lifestyle. You are covering your basic necessities, having a car, a mobile phone, rent, and some entertainment like movies and so on. So considering all the costs, there is a lot of money that could potentially remain with you. So what are you doing with all that money? That is what I want to talk to you about in this video. So this is my suggestion on what you should do with your scholarship money other than your necessary expenses. One thing that I did when I was a PhD student was that I bought a decent car and I sent money back to my parents. I bought them some gifts when I went back every time. But other than that, I also spent a lot of my scholarship funds to upskill myself. That gave me a very good return after my PhD because I secured a research fellowship right away after completing my PhD degree. So what I suggest is you should use the scholarship to upskill yourself, because when you're doing your PhD, it is a time when you're actually preparing yourself for a future job, either in academia or in industry. I say this very often that finishing your PhD is not the main goal. I mean, of course, you will have to finish your PhD. Everyone who enrolls will work towards it. But what you should also do is use that time to build your track record so that you can get a good job in the end. So what I want to say is that you spend your scholarship funds in a way that adds more value to you as a researcher or as a student or a PhD scholar. Join different online courses, both free and paid. Find mentors who can guide you. If you cannot find mentors, then find a coach and avail their services. Coaching will not be free, and it should not be free because the coach has to spend his or her time to work with you and help you build your track record. If you can allocate some funds for coaching over 3 or 4 years, the returns will be enormous. You are basically paying for their experience, so keep that in mind. You have two choices here. Either you pay for somebody else's experience or you experience it and learn it yourself. The first option is faster, which means you can leverage on someone else's experience and move faster in your career. You can get that A or A-star publication that you're dreaming of. With proper guidance and coaching, you will get there faster and you will feel comfortable and less stressful in doing this whole process. But remember that anything of real value is never free. Don't expect free coaching or a free ride. Don't think that everything will be free for you just because you're a student. You should think about how you're going to be different compared to your peers and what actions you're going to take for that. What you do differently now will make you stand out. Now, if everyone is looking for a free ride, like a free software or a free course or free coaching, you will not get the actual value, would you? A free thing is there for a reason. It is just to give you a flavor of what to expect in the real thing. You have to understand the value of knowledge that others are providing and also value their experience, because that is what is going to get you faster to where you want to be. I don't want you to be in a situation where later down the track you think that, oh, I should have done that course or I should have taken that coaching because that would have got me a better quality research paper or would have helped me fast track my research and I could have got that academic job. So think about that. It is a very important consideration for you while you are doing your PhD. You can also take some programming language courses, learn some basic programming, because these days if you do not have some form of technical programming knowledge, it may put you on a back foot. You don't have to become a professional programmer, but if you have basic knowledge or a reasonable knowledge of programming, especially scientific programming, I think that will definitely help you in your career progression. So let's say if you're planning to join academia, it may be important for you to understand what skills do you need to develop in the time frame that you are doing your PhD. That will help you secure the job in academia or industry. Or if you are going down the entrepreneurship route, what is it that you need to do from right now to get there? So keep those things in mind and prepare and plan. Another thing that you can do is create 3 money jars. My daughter does this. In the first jar, you put some money for your savings. In the second jar, you put some money for spending. and in the third jar, you put some money for giving. This will help you to organize and attain your objectives, your plans, your vision, your dream, your ambition. From the spending jar, you can decide how much you're going to spend and what you're going to spend it on. Keep continuous learning and upskilling on the top of the list. Money spent on upskilling yourself will give you much higher returns than you can expect. However, such returns may not be visible immediately, but the returns will be seen in a long term. So don't think very near term or short term. I suggest you should think at least returns over 3 years. If you are in year 1 of your PhD, then by end of 3 years, when you finish your PhD, you should see the returns. Spend your scholarship funds wisely and think of it as an investment. Don't think of it as a cost. You're not wasting it, you are actually investing it on yourself. Also looking for new campus ambassadors. If you would like to represent me, please join my WhatsApp group for campus ambassadors. Link is in the description below. Also, if you want to learn how to do your research systematically, then have a look at my course on systematic literature reviews. This course is fully online, so you can learn it at your own pace and even using your smartphone. There are 6 modules and more than 150 lessons with videos, research activities and writing tasks. If you want to be successfully published in top journals, then you should not miss this course. It's a must for every researcher. Many of my students who have completed this course have published their papers in Q1 and A-ranked journals. In this course, I discuss each and every task that you need to do to complete to write a literature review for a top-ranked journal. This course is most comprehensive course on systematic literature reviews, and I guarantee that you will complete your SLR paper by completing the activities given in this course. To find more information about this course, click on the link to get a detailed insight into this course. If you have any questions about this course, join my Telegram group so I can answer them for you. Link is in the description below. If you have any suggestions or compliments, please leave them in the comments as I enjoy reading them. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. I want you to have faith in me and believe that anything is possible if you have the dedication, courage, and the right guidance. Like I always say, believe and succeed. That is all I have to say in this video. I'm Vidy Potdar. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next video.